Alrighty, all good looking, happy people out in TV land. This is the Live Archive with your host, Frank Monday, coming at you Monday through Friday out the Central Kingdom of the Celestial Dragon, Twilight Zone Old Peking, where we are broadcasting out across the ether like a vibrational transmission from the top of a crystal pyramidion. Wow. Somebody in a Volkswagen wagon driving like they ain't got no goddamn common sense. That's all right. What are you going to do? Hey, Monsieur T-Rex back out there in Happy Land. Part one of the live drive jive, we were talking about Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. And yes, Amber Heard's behavior is textbook MK Ultra kiddo. She was raised in the system of drugs and decadence and torture. What do they call that? Satanic child abuse. I forget what that whole term is they use. Yeah, that whole fucking system is so goddamn corrupt. They're all worship servants of the snake, servants of Set. They're very perverse. They abuse children at a very young age, rape and molest them constantly. They're groomed. They're groomed into those positions. So yeah, Johnny Depp's got that background. He'll talk about it openly. I'm sure now that he's old enough, he's like, that's why he's such a kind-hearted individual, because he's a guy like myself that lived through it. They lived through the dirt of Hollywood and, that whole system of indoctrination, and decided early on that they were betrayed as children, and as a result will never betray a child, and will use everything in all their power and all of their authority as a human being to protect children, right? And so I can sympathize with Johnny on that level, because I've been there. I've seen the darkness as a child, and they try to make you believe that you're a willing participant in it, and it's like, you're 10, 11 years old and having these things done to you, and you're a participant. You're isn't the age of consent like 18 years old, right? And I would say that even tricking, tempting, luring an 18-year-old in is still not allowing for their consent. I would never. I don't think, honestly, I don't think anybody's got any common sense until they're 25. And so tricking children into that type of environment, it's child abuse. And so, yeah, I was definitely abused as a child. I'm a victim of child abuse. But I'm not playing the victim card. Do you see Johnny up there trying to play a victim card? No, he's just telling the fucking truth. And he is a victim of domestic abuse. And that's why he stayed with Amber so long, because that one kiss sealed the deal, man. He talked about it on the Rum Diaries when he was. That's all right, Monsieur T-Drick. And thank you for saying that, Jeff. I mean, did you survive your childhood without any type of? You probably never saw the kind of shit I did, but nobody escapes childhood without some kind of fucking trauma, Childhood's all about trauma. A lot of times. But when thinking, feeling adults engage in that kind of behavior against children, there's something fucking wrong with them, man. They need to be doing hard time in prison. I gotta admit, I gotta say, that's why when I got into things like Boy Scout leadership, and I realized right away, like 60-70% of those guys were fucking sickos, and I would catch them slipping. And that's why, they would never let me rise to the rank of management and stuff, because they don't want to be exposed. And they could see a guy like me and know that I am so anti child abuse that it just oozes from my pores, man. I'd slay a pedo on sight. If I caught some creepo molesting a child, like, oh God, it'd be game over for him, bro. I wouldn't be able to. But the thing is, you got to be so careful. Like, these days, you just get camera. That's what it is. So I'm always carrying, at least 2 phones with camera storage and my little tripod and shit. And I'd be real covert if I caught some bad guys up to nonsense. What I would do is I would set up my camera so that I've got backup, so I've got defense. And then I would slip into the situation and just beat the fuck out of them and subdue them and strap them down like a pig to slaughter, man. And I would film it all, and then I would go back and I would secure my camera, and then I would back up the storage and give the video to multiple other people before I turned them in. But yeah, I would take the law into my own hands if I had to. So it's good that I work in education and I'm among young folks because I keep a fucking sharp eye out for anybody that might be perpetrating nonsense against kids. I'm like a wolf in the environment. I mean, I don't let nobody know though. I keep it all on the down low, keep it under my hat. But these guys, they're evil people that would abuse children. And so yeah, those guys come from a long, like you hear him telling the story about his mother, Betty Sue or whatever, verbal abuse and psychological abuse and physical violence against the children. That shit ain't cute. Don't do that. I mean, maybe occasionally kids need a little bit of a spanking or whatever to keep them in line or something, but not really. The key part of the factor is to keep young people busy doing productive activities because they got so much more energy than you. So you just you get them to work doing shit, doing their homework, doing yard work, and they love it, man. They'll grow into fully actualized beings without any kind of um, psychological manipulation or verbal abuse or physical abuse. I would never raise my hands to hit my children. I've never done it and never would. And like Johnny, I've never hit a woman and never would. But at the same time, I wouldn't stand that kind of horse shit out of Amber that she obviously put him through. But he did it because, in some sense, I guess he loved her until, and maybe he'd get drunk and get angry. She's out there cucking him. I heard him talk about that. I heard the lawyer talk about that. Getting cucked ain't no kind of fun. And he might have been screwing around on the side, too. I mean, he left his first wife for her, so he kind of reeled himself into the situation. And she's a rattlesnake, man. You got to watch out for her. She's a classic MK Ultra child. I heard a lot of adults are doing what happened to them when they were children. See, that's the thing. I don't know. Maybe they get sick and they just stick with the game. And they're like, oh, okay, I was deceived and I was raped as a child. Now I'm going to start raping other children. Nah, man. I realized that what happened to me caused a lot of the problems in my life, like my inability to cope, my high levels of anxiety, and so on. And I wanted to be a father. Like my father was a good man. The way he raised me, he would never raise his hand at me. He would never do anything to harm any of his children that I ever saw. And he never, like with my mom was like Amber sometimes, just going fucking ballistic. Just the madness of hormonal childbirth and stuff, because it isn't easy. And she felt like she wasn't getting enough help, 4 children, and my dad working 24/7. So, the nuclear family can be tough, and that's a problem, and take some of that pressure off. That's why Chinese folks are smarter that way. They use an extended family model. Like, I don't like my mother-in-law, but she stays with us 50% of the time to help with the kids, and I have to deal with her horse shit as well, and then ultimately you have to help them when they get too old to take care of themselves. So an extended family model of 3 generations, grandparents, parents, and children is the way to go. It's tough. We need a bigger living environment because we live in a basic shoebox, but it's the way to go. It's the way to go, man. Single standing family home with 3 generations in the house. That's the way the Chinese do it. Hey, friend. Frank, cheers to just ate food in Florida, and you're in China. I'm also on my 4th class, my last class. Yeah, take it easy on that stuff, man, Jeff. Sip it slow. You don't want to overdo that. That will rapidly lead to a deterioration in health if you go too far. Occasionally, a little bit is fun and fine and dandy, but long-term use or abuse will definitely lead to an unraveling of your health. It's a tough racket, though, man. I've been on the bottle from time to time, and I do love a drink, man. Ain't nothing wrong with it. An occasional drink is nice. How's everyone? Lead pencils today? That's a good question. Looks like there's a whole room full of people out there, and nobody's chiming in out there in Happy Land. We got 20 minutes, man, to fucking tear it up. Let's burn a hole in the rug. Jeff, yeah. Whiskey's a good one, man. If it's high quality whiskey like Maker's Mark, that is dandy. But you don't need me to tell you shit, man. You're the same age as me, Jeff. I think you might even be a couple of years older than me. Do you want to admit your age on live television, Jeff? You're on live TV. Welcome to the Frank Monday channel, where we get it done Monday through Friday most of the time, sometimes on Saturday or Sunday too, if there ain't too much family shit going on. I'll get my kids live streaming with me one day. My kids are smart, man. I love kids. Yeah, so I'm with Johnny. You guys got to vote on Johnny?
He's being totally fucking 100% honest about what went down with Amber. You're 60. Okay, you're 12 years older than me then, man. So are you born, do you know your Chinese zodiac? I'm going to guess that you're Chinese year of the ox. So you're a bull like me. Let me tell you a good joke about bulls, Jeff. There were two bulls at the top of a hill, and they were looking down into a valley filled with heifers. There's an older bull and a younger bull. And a Marine Corps, a gunny, I forget what that guy's rank was. He wasn't a sergeant. He was a young man, but he told me this joke. He said, you're a rooster. Okay, good God, man, a rooster? I never would have been able to calculate that. That doesn't sound right. You're lying about your age, Jeff. That's all right. Let me see here. I won't expose you. You can be a rooster if you like. Hey, Chris A's out there. Hello. How is everyone's lead and everyone's pencils today? You got cut off. Yeah, the internet doesn't function 100% here in Beijing. You know how it is. We're behind the Great Firewall of China. Oh, you're a dragon. So, Chris, you are either 2 years younger than me or 8 years, no, 10 years older, something like that. So you're right around my age, Chris. I think you're probably younger than me. Where was I going with this? Yeah, you're 2 years younger. Yeah, 'cause I'm 48, so you're 46. Watch out, man. That's the Lovecraftian night of the soul right there. You're the age you're going through right now, Chris. Lovecraft died at 46. Edgar Allan Poe died at 46. JFK Kennedy died at 46. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. That is a 46, 47, 48, that midlife crisis, man. That is a deadly fucking age. My brother died at 46. One of my best friends back in America just died recently, 46. You got to watch out for that 4 and 6, man. That there seems to be some kind of fucking dark night of the soul, and I went through it, man. I almost died. That's when I had my aneurysm and had to fucking have emergency life-saving surgery. 46. Yeah, 46 is cursed. It seems to be. I don't know, man, but a lot of people fucking drop dead. So be careful, man. Don't be too promiscuous with death at the age of 46. Watch the fuck out. So I'll be praying for you, Chris. Make it through the dark night of the soul, brother. There is light on the other end, I guarantee you. You start to mellow out, I think, around that age. You finally come into your own. You mature a little bit. Master Nihua Ching of Seven Star Communications says you don't actually mature until you hit 80. He says the only mature, he says the only psychologically mature people on Earth are 80 years old. So you still got 20 years. Okay, good. Yeah, but it goes up and down. See, that's the thing, Chris. You got to watch the fuck out. The higher the higher the highs, the lower the lows. So don't go too much in the direction of that high that's coming on right now, because it is, and I chased it and I was like, ooh yeah, the crystallization of the elixir of immortality is within my grasp. And then boom, man, it was just more than I could fucking handle. 5 years ago. Okay, so you went through it early. That's good. That's good. All right, so to finish my story, there's two bulls at the top of a hill, and he says, you want to know the difference between wisdom and enthusiasm. So the older bull and the younger bull are at the top of the hill, and they look down into the valley, and filled with heifers, hot in heat, ready for action. And the young bull says, why don't we run down in there into that valley and fuck one of them heifers? And the old bull says, take it easy, youngin'. We'll walk down and fuck them all. I don't know. I don't know if I told it correctly, but that's pretty much the difference. And I was a really young man, like maybe 10 or 11, when I heard that joke. And I looked up at this Marine Corps. He had just finished grabbing me by the ankles and shaking all of the quarters out of my pockets, because I'd been working all summer long, and I had a summer job. I'd go out and wash cars and collecting coins, and I had pockets full of coins. And he grabbed me by my ankles and shook me upside down so that all my money fell all over the ground. And a lot of it was silver, like real. That was back when we still had silver coins. And God, it was humiliating. And he gathered up all of my silver and bought beer and cigarettes with it. He said it's very important that you don't get caught when you make yourself wealthy like that. And yeah, so he abused me a little bit. But yeah, they all abused me. They took regular advantage of me. What was the point of this fucking story? I don't guess there was any point. I was just having fun, shooting the shit with y'all. This is like a night at the bar. We got Monsieur Tiedrick over there supping on a glass of Maker's Mark. I'd love to hang out in a bar with all you guys one night. Me, Tiedrick, Chris A, down in Florida, sipping on some of that Maker's Mark. You save a little in the bottom of the bottle for me, Jeff. I'll come over and fucking throw back some shots with you. Yeah, I'll send Owen an email today, man. I'll try to figure out what he's fucking got going on. Upload some stuff to buymeacoffee.com/Frank Monday. I like to put some behind the scenes pictures and articles on that. So if you make a one-time donation, you'll be a permanent member to my Buy Me a Coffee page, and you'll be able to access the behind the scenes. I'm not asking for donations, but I think it's fun. I think if folks are able to make a one-time donation to the channel, that's fun. If not, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it. I reveal the secrets daily here on the channel. You guys know me. I don't hold nothing back. I can barely touch it these days. Me too, man. I indulged a little bit in my youth, to say the least, and so I'm high and dry right now. I've been sober for 15 years. Well, yeah, 10, 15 years. But I have an occasional drink. I got it under control. I went there on the wild side for a little bit. And like Johnny Depp the other day said that he wanted to know if he was an alcoholic because he drank a lot. But no, he was coping with trauma. And I was the same thing. My mom thought I had turned into an alcoholic. I'm like, Mom, I'm not an alcoholic. I can quit drinking at any time. And she's like, prove it. And so I did. I proved. I quit cold turkey. And I went 10 years without a drink, just to prove to my mom that I could do it. But I've been addicted to tobacco since I was, a youth. But that was back in the old school days. They said tobacco was good for you, and I'm not sure they were wrong. Alcohol can barely touch. I've never had issues with alcohol, but there's some days where I drink a lot of Maker's Mark, but I always stop at 4 glasses. Yeah, so yeah, we got our problems. I don't trust people without any kind of vices. who said that? I think Calvin Coolidge said that originally. I'm not sure who said it. I'm sure every great man in history has ever said it. But don't be so good that you miss out on some of the fun in life, right? It's a material life that we're living with a spiritual foundation, and occasionally you got to enjoy your cigarette or your cup of coffee. Um, yeah, I don't trust a man without a couple of vices. Because if they act like they don't have any vices, those are the guys fucking raping children and doing sick horse shit behind the scenes. They're trying to act all goody two shoes up front, when in reality they're the most deprived individuals. Yeah, it does. I'll tell you what Rudolf Steiner says about the difference between alcohol and cannabis, and this also corresponds with coffee and tea. So coffee and alcohol, they go kind of hand in hand. So coffee will stimulate your ability to focus the critical factor on minutia tasks, like repetitive tasks. And alcohol will awaken your creativity for like the destructive principle in the world, like breaking things down and then reorganizing them. But drinking herbal tea, like tea leaves and stuff, will open your imaginative spirit to connect things without breaking them down. And then cannabis does the same thing. It opens it throws back the spiritual veil a little bit and reveals those what Poke Runyon, great grand wizard of the Ordo, the Temple of Astarte, he says that you become a sparkly. So you don't want to go too far in either direction, either left or right of the center path. And that's why moderation in all things, moderate your use of psychedelics and hallucinogens like um, coffee and tobacco are less hallucinogenic than alcohol and cannabis. So you want to moderate those things. They can be used in moderate amounts, and they will be beneficial. All things in moderation, as they say. And I say that as I get ready to have my last. I got a tough day today, guys. Man, I got a lot of classes. So once I get in there and have my breakfast, I'm gonna be hard at it until lunch, and then I'll have a little lunch break. I only got a 30-minute lunch break today, and then I'll be hard at it until uh, 2:30 p.m. is when I'm gonna call it quits and try to sneak out of there. We're supposed to stay till 4, and I don't like to stay. On Friday we get to leave a half day. Okay, okay, T-Drick, you out of here? Have a good night, man. Y'all good-looking, sexy people out in Happy Land. I got just enough time for a JP Farrell. Chris, now that I've got you here, um, if you're still out there, Chris, hey, give me a yo. I had a couple of things I wanted to discuss with you, but I've never had a chance to get over to Instagram because every time I get over there, I end up looking at all them round asses on Instagram. I don't know how my Instagram got flooded with good-looking fat butts, but something like that went down, and I try to avoid opening Instagram too much. Yeah, so your video, I tried to download it from the internet has been shit since the beginning of March here in China. And I tried to download the link you sent me on Google Drives and it didn't work. Literally, I left my computer on for like 20 hours straight and it downloaded like 15% of it. And I was like, fuck, this is never going to work. I got to use my laptop for work. And so I gave up on it. Then I tried to download it with the YouTube downloader and it wouldn't let me do it. So it stalled out at like 12 hours and had like 2% of it downloaded. So I wanted to use that video on a weekend edition, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. However, I do know that if I use StreamYards, I can just watch it live on YouTube. So as long as you don't give me a copyright strike for watching your material, I think I can do it. And I wanted to do it with Occult Priestess. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't matter. I can just stream it live and then watch it on my laptop. If I have your permission to do that. So my main point is I just want to get your go ahead on that I could, because it will expose. Good deal, yeah. Because you put it online, I figured you wanted it to be shared, but you know how fucking Susan is over at YouTube. You know, you do anything against what she thinks that day is not right, and she's gonna, nail you with a community strike. Hell, if there's a song playing in the background when I do something, I get a fucking not a community strike, but you'll get a copyright strike. They'll be like, you couldn't let 5 seconds of that song play on your video in the background. I'm like, I didn't let it happen. It just happened to be playing in the environment. That's okay. They're losing the battle. They're losing. Day in and day out, they're losing. It was so funny to see CNN stock drop to zero when they launched their streaming service. Everyone's like, come on, we don't even watch you for free. The only reason you get any airtime, anyways, is because it's like mandatory at airports that they play CNN to make everybody feel anxiety. And then Netflix, when they exposed themselves as pedophiles, they embraced it. They're like, we want all your kids to be trans so we can play with them when you're not around. Yeah, I'd like to think that other platforms are going to do any good, but they're not, man. They're all the same thing. I don't know if I don't really think I want YouTube to die. I think I wanted to get bought out by the community. Rather than YouTube dying, they should evenly distribute all of the stock to everyone that's a member of it. So guys like PewDiePie that got 50 million, they should give him 10% of the stock, like a controlling share, and then they should retire themselves. And the rest of the stock should be evenly distributed among all the creators. And so there should be a platform where it's user based. So the creators who join the platform immediately get like one share of stock. And then for every subscriber they get an incremental increase in the value of their partnership with the platform. Yeah, it should be worker owned. And then workhorses like me and Styx Hexenhammer, guys that put out live content videos every day, we should get an increased amount of salary from it. Yeah, that's the way to go. And ultimately, that's the most logical idea, and that will be the idea that takes precedence in the future. It'll be the guys who actually get on there and make content that people enjoy and watch, and they will be the ones who are the owners of the company. It's logical. And everything right now is going against natural logic. And that means that we're in the dark night of the soul. Like you said, Chris, you experienced it on an individual level recently, and I experienced it, man. Everyone that I loved and look forward to seeing in the future drop dead. I mean, from my childhood and from my life, from my foundational, they're all dropping dead, and they're checking out before the finale. But you know what? I'm meeting new people that are taking the place of. I'm meeting new folks like you, Chris, and Monsieur Tiedrick, and my children, and other people that are taking the place of the leadership of the future. And there are guys like me who are having kids and raising their kids, even in the fucking belly of the beast, in digital dictatorship, the seat of the dragon, are raising their children to embrace freedom and critical thinking. And all the kids at this academy, I'm trying to wake them up to a love of human rights and freedom. And that's my mission over here, is to embrace my roots as an American, into the heart of the dragon, so that the new elite will embrace that ideal of, hey, as a leader, I need to be criticized. I need to be called out when I'm doing something wrong. I don't need to have ultimate authority over everyone. I need a little bit of collective democracy in my system. game and being an upright individual. And that power needs to be distributed through the triangulation, right? Executive, judiciary, and congressional. The United States system, the Constitution of the U.S., is the most beautiful document in the history of mankind at this time. And for motherfuckers to get out there in Happy Land, on TV land, and vilify it and try to fucking mar it is just, it's fucking bullshit. It doesn't need to be revamped. It needs to be lived up to. The Bill of Rights doesn't need to be changed and brought forward into modern time. It needs to be lived up to. It needs to be respected. The folks that went into those positions of political power in the United States need to have their feet held to the fire. They need to be tarred and feathered for violating that sacred document of our forefathers. George Washington laid down the law early on, got out the compass and square, and set the cornerstone under the foot of Columbia, goddess of the stars, right? The great Virgin Mother. And that needs to be respected. He invoked the powers of Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, to reign over the country. That's right. The U.S. is a constitutional republic, and its level and people like you, we need to hold their feet to the fire. We need to make sure that they're implementing the Constitution, not the legal system, not the horse shit they try to lord over us. They have no right to issue driver's license, right? When there's no accountability in voting in the elections. We don't need licenses to operate motor vehicles. We don't need licenses to operate businesses. They're out of their fucking minds. When those self-same people that try to put hardship on us won't even follow the document of law of the Constitution, that's when we need to blow back and rebel and say, it's time for a fucking revolution. You guys are out of your minds. When they come in and they use something like a viral pandemic to shut down all the middle class so that their corporate oligarchies can make even huger profits and they could strangle us even further into wage slavery, that's when we need to bring out our arms and start firing them in the air and bring in the fucking politicians to heal. We don't need to pay taxes. We don't need to pay land taxes. We don't need to pay income taxes. Those things need to be repealed. If they could sit there at the Federal Reserve and print fucking funny money to engorge themselves and secure huge estates and private jets and private security and just on and on and on and engorge their fucking salaries every year, then what the fuck do we need to pay taxes for? Taxpayer dollars, my ass. Those are debt dollars. And the people who wrote the check, they're the ones that are fucking accountable to that debt, not the sovereign citizens of the United States. The natural-born citizens of the United States don't owe a fucking red cent to anyone. Oh, China holds U.S. foreign debt. Yeah, it's guys like Beijing Biden that owe the fucking ticket on that, not the U.S. people. Don't let them fucking brainwash you into believing that. Yeah, it should be sovereignty-based, Chris. I agree with you. But, man, I've run out of time, and I've said my piece. I love you, brother. Keep the fucking lead in your pencil. Keep your nose to the grindstone. Keep fighting the good fight. All that fucking happy horse shit, man. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Keep my family in your prayers. I will certainly keep your family in my prayers. Let's get a prayer out there for Owen Ryan, because he's some fucking darkness has beset him, and thanks. You have a top day too, Chris. Out in the Britannia, you, sir, are in jolly old England. I recall. I always want to ask everyone where they're from, because I get people confused. I got like 4 or 5 people that tune into the channel regularly, and there's a Tip of the hat to you, sir. There's a principle in memory called propinquity. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but when you learn similar things on a similar format, sometimes they're encoded on the same synapses in the mind. It's called propinquity. It means nearness, right? In close proximity to one another. So if I learn a couple of people's backgrounds at the same time on the same live chat, then they'll just get meshed together. And I'll say, oh, yeah, you're from British Columbia, you're from here, you're from here, there. But yeah, send me an email, man, or maybe I'll tune into Instagram later today. I'll try to tune into Instagram every Friday or Saturday or something like that. I'll try to make it once a week because I only end up checking the Instagram like once or twice a month and maybe I need to delete all those hot chicks on there that shake their ass at me. I don't know how they got on there. I open Instagram and it's just filled with hot butt. Hard to separate people via text in a picture. Yeah, no, I know you real well, Chris. I know you made a viral fucking UFO video back in the day that got like 11 million views or something. And at the same time, your sub count on your channel stayed like at zero or something. I don't know what Susan's doing, man. She doesn't fucking like you, obviously. Okay. Good man. I appreciate that. Thank you for that offer. I will see you all in the abodes of the future. As above, so below. Good magic. Bye for now, guys.